Probably going to be a quick skip there, but I'll try and trim it out in post. This next one, yes, I know it's original Mario Brothers, but this is probably the most corrupted, still working cartridge that I've ever had in my collection. So to kind of explain what I mean, so let's just say that this dust cover and my game are what would be displayed on the screen. Normally you'd have your far left, your right, your sprites, your palette, and all that stuff. Well, the way that this one is corrupted, it takes basically what's here, loads it over here in an odd color, with the same thing being loaded over here. So then when you're scrolling, it's kind of scrolling oddly in like reverse while still moving forward. So you'll have pits in places where there's not pits, or blocks where there's not blocks, and then you'll be able to stand on invisible platforms and invisible blocks. The levels play like normal. It's visually confusing. So if you have the levels memorized, you'd have no problem. But if you're trying to play it, based off sight, you're gonna make some mistakes and probably end up getting yourself out of lives. But next on the list, it is the bigger, better sequel to Track and Field 2. Graphics are enhanced. Mini games, there are more of them, and some of them are far too complicated as far as I'm concerned. But it's still fun for like multiplayer, because the AI obviously, like before, they can cheat. They can do things that you just humanly cannot do. Alright, so I would say we are about 3/4 through my drawer now, and we are actually starting to get into my more collectible areas here. This is going to be the last little bit of non-boxed ones. We do have Bubble Bobble. Peter and Ted know all about that one. This, Defender 2, while it is a fun game, I bought it solely on the basis that it takes the music, the game over sounds, and plenty of other things from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So it's like blatant plagiarism. They don't even try to hide it, but it's still kind of funny. Here we'll have another, it's a title that most people will know. It is Double Dragon 2. Now the reason why I have this one over the original is that this one actually allows multiplayer, not just single player. Here would be another one of my shooter games. It's not the greatest one, but you get to play as a dragon and get multiple types of dragon heads and multiple types of dragon flame. So it's pretty fun for that reason. So I like it. Another extremely popular game, we have Ninja Gaiden 2. It is my personal favorite of the Ninja Gaiden series. It just has everything improved over the first one. It's a little bit better power-ups, still keeps the difficulty. But the entire trilogy, they're all great games, but they really did push them out. I think they made all 3 of them within a span of, 2.5, 3 years? So, but if you hit gold, why not keep going, right? Another game that really needs no introduction. It is Castlevania. Everybody knows it, everybody loves it, or hates it while loving it. Either way, it's still a great game. Now this one, most people might not know of, but it plays very much like a Mega Man game. It's a puzzle-ish platformer, run-and-gun shooter. The only thing is, you're this giant mech suit, but you die in one hit. So it's a little difficult for most people's taste, and it is expensive. I believe this cartridge is about $150 now, so it's up there, but it's a mech game, so I had to have it. And this is also in tandem with the Super Nintendo game Metal Warriors that I was talking about prior when I mentioned Cybernator. This is the first one in that series. Alright, so now these aren't actual boxes, but they're close enough. It's just a rental card, but here's some funky card that comes with this game in Japan. Battle card battle card. I hope that's not what I think it is. Apologize if I showed that and everybody's like, what? You can't show that? But, yeah. Anyway, this is a Famicom or Super Famicom game called Parodius or Gokujo something something. I don't know the exact name. I'd have to look it up. Parodius Da or something. But it is a comedic version of a game called Gradius, which I showed earlier. Same power-up system and everything, but this game is beyond wacky. You will fight like cake monsters. One of the bosses is a literal tube of frosting, and it's a robot with giant lips that squeezes the tube of frosting at you. I'm not kidding. That's actually what it is. But it does have an amazing soundtrack with classics of all sorts of songs that the moment you hear them will be almost immediately recognizable. I suppose I can show off the box for this one. It has art. Star Fox FX. So, Super Nintendo. It's a great game. It's not the greatest in 3D, but, you know, they tried. It still is fun. It's, you know, still cheap. 20, 25 bucks. It's worth it. I just wish it had multiplayer or co-op or something. Another big hitter here. We got Final Fantasy 3. I think I have the manual with this one. Or no, I don't. But, awesome game. Final Fantasy 6, if you want to be chronologically correct. Still been meaning to get down and play some of these, but I really just don't have the time. Especially for some of these longer RPGs. That's why I'm such a big fan of shmups. Because you can just pick them up, play for 20 minutes, put them back down, and then you're fine. Next in my boxed list is the original Donkey Kong, or in Japan, Super Donkey Kong. I did play through on this cartridge, and I did beat the game. It is an open box, but I like to keep my stuff nice, so eventually I might just get a North American copy of it so I don't have to open the box too much anymore. And this, I know it looks like a kid's game, but there's a TV show that was on Adult Swim. It actually was removed from Adult Swim for being too vulgar, is really the only way to put it. But it is called Shin-Chan, or this game is called Crayon Shin-Chan. It is a very adult humor story about, you know, some kindergartners, or I'm pretty sure they're kindergartners. But the game is ridiculously hard to figure out and play, mainly because I can't read Japanese. But adults only look up the show, or don't even look it up at all. Because it's, well, there's probably not much of it left on YouTube anyway. And last but not least of my Super Famicom boxed games, I have a Super Bomberman 2. It's definitely fun. The box isn't in the greatest shape, but it's still Super Bomberman, and it's still fun. And this one, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, was one of the first Super Nintendo RPGs that was specifically made to be beginner friendly. And when it is beginner friendly, it is very much that. You pretty much can't lose unless you're not strong enough, and at that point you can just turn around and go back. But story behind this though, I never really wanted this game. I mean, I know it has a great soundtrack, it's fun to play for younger kids and stuff, but somebody walked in the store and they're like, hey, we don't want this stuff, you guys can have it, but the only condition is that you have to pick one for yourselves and you can't sell it. Well, I mean, obviously after they left I could have sold it, but I'm an honest person, and it's a cool box. It's Final Fantasy. It's the only boxed Final Fantasy I have, so figured I might as well keep it. Plus it's like the oddball one, you know? So it's just even cooler that way. So, but that's how I got it, and I'm going to keep it because it's still a cool box. And I found this box late. I had the game for a long time, but Super Mario Kart box has everything in there. Another one that I found late is a Mario All-Stars box. Has everything in there. And this one, it's It's a harder to find game. It's Mode 7's top-down shooter on Super Nintendo called Axlay. It's really tough to get used to if you haven't played anything like it before. You kind of have to sit there, play through a few waves to let your eyes adjust to it. And if you can't adjust to it, then it's usually recommended that you don't play it, because if you get motion sick, you're probably not going to enjoy this game very much. But it's a shooter, and I love my shooters, so I had to have it. And duplicate copies. A very, very nice near mint box of Stunt Race FX. And the last one in my drawer is a very nice mint boxed Uniracers. And then I do have a couple more, which are my biggest collectibles. I'm not going to show off everything for this, mainly because there's a lot of it. I'll just show my gem of the whole set. But I am a very big Killer Instinct collector, and this one is still factory sealed, straight off of Walmart shelves. So it's been in its box for 22 years, and it will continue to stay in its box for however long I keep it, which should be probably until the day I pass away. But I have several copies of that game. Got all the versions of it. I got plenty of collectible figures of it, but we're not going to go into all that. I have other pictures of that. But that's the bulk. That's all of my retro collection. These are all games that I bought and I intend to keep because they have replay value, they have multiplayer, and they're nostalgic to me. I mean, I have a lot, and I'm still collecting. I recently just opened my way up to Genesis, and I'm just gonna keep collecting. They're awesome games. You can't really ever outgrow these types of games. So, but if you find games that you like or find games that you want, and you're local to Minnesota, I do work at a retro video game store, which is kind of why I've been able to accumulate so many. But we're called High Score Video Games. We're located in St. Cloud, Waite Park area. Like, if you can figure out where Fuji Steakhouse is, you can figure out where our store is. We have a Facebook page. I don't want to just shamelessly promote it on here, but you know what? I might as well. It's cool stuff. We can do requests. We have 4 stores total, so we can rotate stock if we need to. But just come check us out for any of your retro gaming needs. And I really want to thank everybody that took the time to sit here with me and go through my whole collection. I mean, as I get more games, I might keep posting more if people want to see it. But for now, everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your summer. It's nice out. And happy hunting if you're looking for games.